my mother died, I was 30 and alone. The kind of alone that hums in your chest, the quiet that follows the end of everything familiar. She'd passed peacefully in her sleep, or so the doctor said, but her last message to me, left on my voicemail 2 nights before she died, still echoed in my head. Don't go back there, Daniel. Promise me you'll never go back. I didn't know what she meant until the lawyer called and told me she'd left me the deed to a small property in my name. The house on Willow Creek Road. We had lived there for 1 year when I was 10. My parents never spoke of it again after we left. I barely remembered anything, except for the smell of the place. Old wood, dust, and something faintly metallic, and the whispering I used to hear through the air vents at night. Still, I went. Some things call to you whether you want them to or not. 2. The house that waited. The cab dropped me at the bottom of the hill. The road was cracked, the grass overgrown, and the mailbox lay half buried in the dirt. The house stood at the top, gray and skeletal against the mist, a hollow body with its windows for eyes. The real estate agent was waiting near the porch. A woman in her 60s, thin and polite, with a voice that seemed too careful. "You're the son?" she asked. I nodded. She hesitated, glancing up at the house. "I've sold a lot of properties in this county, but I've never understood that one. It doesn't stay the same," I frowned. "What do you mean?" "The layout," she said. "The rooms change. Doors appear, disappear. Every time someone goes in, it's different." I almost laughed. Thought it was some strange local superstition. But her eyes didn't look like the eyes of a woman telling ghost stories for fun. She handed me the keys. "Be careful after dark," she said. "If you hear the vents, don't answer them." 3rd, the first night inside, it smelled exactly as I remembered. The air was cool, almost damp, and the floors groaned under my weight like the house was exhaling after years of silence. My old bedroom was upstairs. Wallpaper faded to the color of bone. The closet door still had the small crack I'd once tried to fix with duct tape. As night fell, the fog thickened around the windows. The air vents began to rattle, faintly at first, then rhythmically, like breathing. Lying in bed, I closed my eyes and listened. Somewhere deep in the ductwork, a voice whispered, "He's still here. Don't go downstairs." The words were muffled, almost like they came from under the floor. I sat up, every hair on my arms lifting. The house went silent again, but I could feel something behind the walls, a pulse, slow and patient. I didn't sleep at all that night. 4. The basement door. The next morning I decided to check the basement, the same one I'd been warned about. The door to it was swollen shut, as if the house didn't want me to open it. I found a crowbar in the garage and forced it loose. A rush of cold air hit me, thick and stale. The steps were slick with condensation. At the bottom stood a small rocking horse. Its paint was flaking, its eyes cracked. I knelt beside it, brushing away dust, and saw something carved into the wood. My initials. I didn't remember ever owning it. Beneath them, carved deeper, were the words, "Stay with me." When I touched the carving, I felt warmth. Faint, like the echo of a heartbeat. Then came a sound behind me, a single slow step. When I turned, no one was there. V, the photograph. I found the photo album later that afternoon tucked inside a rusted metal box in the attic. The album was labeled Willow Creek, 2001. Most of the pictures were of my mother and me. She was smiling in every one, a soft, tired smile that I hadn't seen in years. But one photo stopped me cold. It was a picture of me in the front yard, holding a paper airplane. My mother stood behind me, waving at the camera. And in the window just above her, the basement window, stood a man. He was pale, with a hand pressed to the glass. His face was long, and his eyes hollow. My father had been working in another state when that picture was taken. I dropped the photo. For a moment I thought I heard footsteps in the ceiling. Slow, deliberate. 6. The Whispering House. Over the next few nights, the house began to change. Doors that led to closets opened into different rooms. The hallway upstairs grew longer, stretching into corners I didn't remember. Sometimes I'd hear my mother's voice, softly calling my name from somewhere in the dark. And then the 3rd night, I heard something new, Not whispering, humming, a low lullaby drifting from the vents. Hush, little one, come home. The melody was so familiar it hurt. My mother used to hum it to me when I couldn't sleep. I followed the sound down the stairs barefoot, moving toward the basement door. The humming grew louder until it stopped abruptly. Then, in the silence that followed, a man's voice whispered, "You shouldn't have come back." 7. The man in the window. I didn't remember falling asleep, but at some point I woke to a crash downstairs. The air was thick and hot, the house breathing fast around me. From the corner of my eye, I saw the window at the end of the hall glow faintly, a light outside, moving slowly toward the house. Someone was standing in the yard, tall, pale, still. He lifted his hand and pressed it to the window, just as he had in the photograph. My throat closed. I ran to my room and locked the door, but the handle began to turn from the other side. "Daniel," a voice whispered, low and familiar, "it's your father. Let me in." My father had died 5 years ago. 8. The basement. The next morning I decided to end it. I packed my bags, ready to leave. But the front door wouldn't open. No matter how hard I pulled, the latch wouldn't budge. The whispering began again, louder than ever, from all around the house. "Stay. Don't go. We're waiting." The air turned ice cold. Every light flickered. Then, as if pulled by some invisible thread, I turned toward the basement. The door was wide open, and from the dark below, I saw light. Warm, golden light, like candle flame. My mother's voice came from the stairs. "It's all right now, Daniel. Come home." I descended. The light grew brighter until it filled the space completely. I saw my mother standing there, smiling. Behind her, my father, both waiting. Their faces were calm, peaceful, until I blinked. Then their eyes went black. Their mouths stretched open, far too wide, as the light around them flared. Something grabbed my wrist, something ice cold and strong. And then, nothing. 9. The house that remains. They found me the next morning, unconscious near the front steps. The neighbors had seen lights in the windows, even though there was no power connected to the house. I told them I must have fallen. The police said the basement didn't exist. Only a crawl space, sealed off decades ago after a fire. But I remember the warmth of my mother's hand on mine. I remember the hum of her voice, and sometimes when I drive past Willow Creek Road, I see a light burning in the upstairs window. A man and a woman standing side by side, their hands pressed against the glass, smiling, waiting. And I know someday the house will call me back again.